It's the 10th of February 2015. I'm here with Jenny Upham, and we're going to talk about the stages in preparation and performance. And I'm going to talk you through the brief quite briefly, and then we are going to I'm going to let you get on with it. Essentially, it's quite an independent project we've got. So the TV show is going to be around the theme of money matters. So I want you to either pick a song that you've already written in the past that fits that theme, or more preferable to that would be to write a new song, or you can pick a cover, okay? And I'm still going to ask you to research on covers anyway, as part of the task, okay? So before we look at the brief in more detail, I'm going to ask you, in your own words, if you can tell me how you go about preparing to perform. So what stages you might go through. So think about when you performed at the open mics the other week. How did you go about it?
No, I can't talk when there's someone recording, seriously.
It's alright, you'll get used to it.
It's scary.
It's only for the external verifier. No one's going to see it, it's not going on public YouTube. So in your own words, how did you go about rehearsing and performing? So most people think about it as just the two. Rehearse, perform, rehearse, perform.
Yeah, that's it.
Is it?
Yeah.
So when you came into college the next day and you're absolutely buzzing because it went well,
No.
what were you thinking about? What aspects went well? When you were walking home the night, you weren't just thinking, oh, that went well, I'll do it again the same next time. You're already thinking about your improvements, aren't you? So in your own words, what stages would you go through? These aren't official things either. This isn't college work. This is your development as a musician as well. Yeah. The only reason I'm recording this is so I can use it as evidence. Yeah. We have these informal discussions on a day-to-day basis, don't we? Yeah. So what else did you do then? So let's think about it from the morning you woke up and you thought, right, I'm going to perform at Kurova tonight. I'm going to perform at the Ferret. What process did you go through? You didn't just turn up and play and go home, did you?
I try and get myself into the mindset.
Okay.
Like,
So you're preparing mentally
get
for
up,
it.
like positive and everything.
Yeah?
Do a bit of practice during the day.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So what about any warm-ups? Because you're a vocalist as well. Is there anything you do or anything you don't do?
No, I don't do any warm-ups.
Yeah, you're a smoker as well. So did you have a cigarette before you went on to calm your nerves, or did you wait till after?
Yeah, I did wait till after. I usually drink quite a bit of water first.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. And what about the process afterwards? So after you finished performing, what happened? What did you do?
Just chill out.
Just chill out. What were you thinking about? Don't think about it too officially. Try not to think you're at college now. Yeah? Think about your actual development as a musician.
I just...
Think about in really, really simple English and really informal words. What were you thinking when you went home? On your walk home, you're thinking about your performance. What were your thoughts?
I don't know, I just thought it was good and that was it.
What, and are you going to repeat it exactly the same next time?
Yeah.
Okay, what about if you turn up and you're...
Although it does give me the motivation to write more stuff.
Right,
so,
okay.
Yeah.
That's a really good point. So what about next time when you turn up and you've prepared this really beautiful and poignant, really quiet songs, that are really well crafted, and it's full of rowdy people on a Friday night all having a drink and a good time? What would you do then?
I'd probably just break it and leave.
Okay. So that's the stage right now. There's nothing wrong with that, because I used to be a bit like that when I first started performing my original stuff, because it was a bit folky and quite lyrical. Now I'm at the stage a few years later where I know that if I turn up and I've planned songs A, B, C, D, if it's really rowdy, I can perform X, Y, Z if I need to.
No, it's not like backups and stuff.
Exactly, yeah. So you already mentioned about your repertoire, you said it gives you the motivation to write more stuff. So for example, you turn up and it's really rowdy, have you got a song in your set that's a really upbeat cover that's going to get the crowd on your side?
Well, I do have a few upbeat ones, but it's not like the cover that people know. So
That's not necessarily
I'd probably have to learn some.
Cool.
Yeah.
So, what I'm going to do now is show you this little flow chart, okay? So, at the top here, it says do. Right? Now we are musicians, so we perform, don't we? Okay? Now, one of the other students made a really good point. He said, well, you don't perform before you plan. Which is quite right. But for the purposes of this, we're going to start off with the performance, okay? So after we perform, we then evaluate, okay? All that means is we look at our strengths, what went well. We don't think about our weaknesses, because everybody's got weaknesses, you can't be good at everything. We just think, what went well? Dead simple. So what ways do you think we could find out our strengths of a particular performance? There's three main ones that I can think of. One's pretty obvious. If you're playing somewhere, how do you know it's gone well or not?
If there's like people cheering and coming up to you.
Yeah, exactly.
That was great.
There you go, yeah? So audience interaction, yeah? So there's two main ways of that. Obviously you can judge how the crowd's responding while you're actually performing, while you're on the stage. Or you can ask people after the show. Sometimes they'll come up to you if it's really good, yeah? But often the negative comments, the ones that make you progress the most, I found, over the years. You come away thinking, oh, we should have done this now, we should have done this, which gives you more fire. And if your best mate goes, oh, that was really good, it's not really helping you, is it? You know what I mean? It's just saying you were really good, it's not going to progress you, you're just going to rest on your laurels now if you think you're really good. So other ways we could do it is we could record the performance, or get someone else to record the performance and then watch it back and evaluate it ourselves. Another way of doing it is getting our peers to evaluate it, so our bandmates, or maybe you've got other musicians that you're friends with that you've gone down there to perform with. It doesn't necessarily matter if you're a solo performer, you can still count them as a peer, because they're watching you from a musician's point of view, they're not part of the audience, even though they kind of are. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So for example, if you go down there with Ollie Taylor or someone like that, you can say, Ollie, how did it go? You know, if he says something critical, he's trying to help you, he's not just putting you down, you know what I mean? Okay, so we talk about what went well, okay? Don't worry about our weaknesses, we just say what went well. Once we've identified that, we can move on then to start reflecting. That's when we look at our improvements, okay? EBI, that stands for even better if, okay? Now these skills are really, really important, not just for yourself, but as part of this project, you might want to form your own band and become the band leader. By that, you can just be two people. Yeah, it could just be me and you if you're not happy with performing with any of the others for whatever reason, either stylistic reasons or you don't think they're professional enough. Yeah, that means you're the band leader. It means the buck stops with you. It says there, I know you've not read it all the way through yet, but on the brief it says you have the power to sack members, yeah? Because at the end of the day, if they're not pulling their weight, it's going to reflect on your performance, okay? So, let's say you're working with Jared, for example, okay? So he's fairly new, he's got lots of ability, but he's a bit like you, he's not that confident, he's still coming out of his shell a little bit, yeah? But let's say he's not quite doing something right with the lead guitar part. Rather than saying, oh, Jared, you're doing this wrong, you say, find something that he's doing really well. So say, Jared, oh, you're doing this really well. Tell him what went well, okay? And not just to rub his ego, but to give him that confidence, yeah? Think, oh, I can do this, yeah? And secondly, then you say, it could be even better if you did this. Yeah? So these are really important techniques for you to learn as a band leader, to communicate with your band members effectively, not just for your own progress. There's two ways you can use this little flow chart, okay? So only then do we move on to planning. And as musicians, most of our plans are formulated during our rehearsals, okay? But we also want to make sure we plan before the rehearsal. It's no good just turning up and winging it in your rehearsal. Yeah, there's so many young college bands out there, the old cliches, they all get together every week on a Tuesday night, have a few beers, make the same mistakes in the same places, and then go out and do a gig every week. Yeah, and they're not practicing, they're just repeating the mistakes. Okay? So it's really important to evaluate what went well, what could be even better if, and all that stuff should feed into your plan. Now, if you want to write all this stuff down and be really academic about it, that's fine. If you don't, you want to just think about it while you're at home at night, you're making your brew before you go to bed, or whatever it is, you're on your walk home after your gig and you're thinking, well, this went well, but even better if I did that. That's still formulating your plan. It's not official writing it down. It doesn't have to be like that. If you want to make it like that for your musicians, they've got it absolutely in black and white. That's more down to you as a band leader, how you want to work it, yeah? So that plan then directly feeds in to your next performance, okay? Most people think it's just this, perform, rehearse, but that way you just end up making the same mistakes over and over again. Does that make sense? So I want you to start using this little cycle to improve your own performances, but also, to develop your band leadership skills as well, because it's a really important skill to have. One of the first bands I was in, we were all so close with each other, we were all like brothers. We didn't know how to communicate properly in a rehearsal room. So a singer would be like, oh, that's rubbish, play it like this. And I'd be really offended by that. What he was meaning to say was, I love it when you do this, but it'd be even better if you tried this. Because he wasn't a guitarist, so he didn't know the technical language. Because we're all so passionate, we ended up falling out and stuff like that. It's such an old cliche. So it is really important, but at the end of the day, you have to put your foot down. Yeah, say if you recruit a bass player and he's not turning up, sack him. Yeah? Or if you recruit a guitarist and he refuses to learn his scales and he's playing wrong notes all the time, sack him. Yeah? It reflects on you. Yeah? You've got to be in control of this stuff, yeah? So, 2 things to think about when you're planning, okay? Differentiate for your audience. So you turn up and you plan 3 really quiet, beautiful, well-crafted original songs. It's a really rowdy pub. You think, oh, I wasn't expecting this. Make sure you can pull out that upbeat cover just to get everybody on your side, yeah? And also think about your full set and your overall flow. Now, this is where people have criticised me over the past. They said, oh, I love your set, but I couldn't decide what I was listening to. 1 minute it's flamenco guitar, instrumental stuff, and the next minute you're singing reggae, and the next minute it's folky. It's all over the place. So I've always struggled with that personally. But obviously, people then sometimes also criticise performers who every song sounds the same. So it's all about finding that individual balance for you, yeah? Does that make sense? Yeah. You got any comments or questions about any of that? No? Okay. So I'm going to quickly talk you through the brief now, okay? So number 1, take part in a professional discussion to identify the stages of preparation for performance. We've just done that, okay? So that's the first one ticked off. Number 2, here's what we need to do today. You're going to use the internet to find 5 songs around the theme of money, using a named and dated Microsoft Word document. I want you to record the song title, the artist name, and the YouTube URL, okay? Then you join or form a band. Now, because you're the singer, you might want to form your own band, so you've got total control of what's going on. But to fulfill the criteria, you might just want to play keyboard for someone else. Yeah? Now, as well, if you form a band and you don't end up performing on the day, that's alright. We can still document your progress, yeah? So don't feel like you're under a lot of pressure to perform here as well, because I know you're a new student as well. So I would do both. I mean, someone else already asked you to play keyboard in their band. I would seriously think about forming your own as well. It might just be you and me. It might just be you and Jared. But if you want to get a full band as well, with drums, bass, maybe even a rapper to do a 16 and a middle 8 or something like that, be really ambitious. Try things out, because this is where you've got this opportunity to learn in a really nurturing environment, yeah? use the resources while they're here. I really miss uni and college and all that stuff because it was free studio time, free rehearsal space, free musician hire, free teaching. I have to pay for everything now. And I don't, studio costs are very, very expensive. So use the facilities while they're here. Number 4, decide who will be the band leader in your group. So another band leader's already asked you to join, so that one's set. But if you're going to form your own, because you're the singer, I'd highly recommend that you select yourself for this role, okay? So you'll be responsible for the success of the group, and you have the power to sack and recruit new members. And identify your responsibilities of your individual roles. So all this means is, apart from the Microsoft Word document in number 2, where you find 5 songs, the rest of it's all going to be videoed and informal discussions, yeah? Professional discussions, but nice and informal like we're doing now. And I'll be videoing your rehearsals and stuff like that, so there's not much written work, okay? But then the thing is, you can watch those videos back and use this to improve your craft, yeah? So, this is a work-based learning centre, it's not a college, yeah? You're here to learn the skills that you want to learn, okay? It's going to help you succeed in the real world. So number 5, begin your rehearsals. You can read this in your own time, but it says things like demonstrate employability skills, operate safely and responsibly, things like that. Then number 6 is perform. Okay? So even if you don't end up performing for whatever reason, let's say, I don't know, you have a family emergency or something, you can't make it on the day, we've still got all the evidence of all the preparations, yeah? And let's say for whatever reason your band isn't ready and you say, I'm the band leader, I'm calling it off, we're not doing it. That's up to you, that's your choice, okay? But if you're in more than one band, it means that the chances are you will perform on the day. Okay? Good. So, like I said, even if you don't perform at the end, we've still got all the evidence of you working towards that performance, okay? Now we will need you to perform eventually by the end of the year at some point, but if you're really not happy with the college environment, I could always film you performing at an open mic, either at Corona or the Ferret, somewhere like that, okay? And don't worry, I won't be putting it on YouTube for everyone to see. It's a private account that I upload to that only the external and internal verifiers have got access to. Okay? So have you got any questions about the brief, or about what you're being asked to do? Okay, good. So your task for today is go and speak to Liam. He's going to be your band leader. You're going to play keyboard for him. Form your own band as well. Think about either writing a song or a song you've got in the past that fits the brief. But also I need you to use the internet to find 5 songs around the theme of money. And it might be an idea just to pick one of those 5 that you want to perform. That's up to you. I prefer original stuff, but it's not a precondition. Okay? So get on with task number 2 today. Speak to Liam for further instruction about your own band. His band, and then you might want to form your own band as well. So I'll come and find you later on, and we'll have a chat about where you're up to with your own band. Okay? Any questions? Are you all good? Okay, cool. Well done.